How you doing, guys? Sorry about I'm late. Had a meeting go a little longer than I thought. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me? All right. If I'm too loud, let me know. Here's the sealed case. I don't even know how they pack it, so let's. Two, three, and five. All righty then. Welcome to our T205 case break. 20 boxes. I mean, yeah, 4 cartons. 5 cartons of 4 boxes equals 20 boxes. All right, where's my knife? Where'd it go? Are you guys ready? I should print out something. I'm going to print it out. Give me a minute here. Okay, where are you? Yeah, I could just print this list out to see who gets what. Copy. Paste in there. Paste. And I'll print down. Print. All right, got a list. There's the list. Let's take this over to here. I'm a little rusty on brakes because Tops doesn't give me enough product to break. So there we go. Three and 4. So who we got here? Scott and John. Anybody else in the room? All right, are we ready? One. Looks like packs of gum. How you doing, Desi? Okay, here we go. Gunnar Henderson. Then we got a gold frame. Mark Grace for the Cubs. Gunnar Henderson for the Orioles. DeGrom for the Rangers. Miguel Cabrera, Marlins. Adrian Beltre for the Mariners. Emmanuel Clase for the Guardians. Wyatt Langford for the Rangers. Lou Robb for the White Sox. Ranger Suarez for the Phillies. Bob Gibson for the Cardinals. Don't know if there's any parallels. Royce Lewis for the Twins. Matt Olson for the Braves. Lewis Heel for the Yankees. Matt Chapman for the Giants. Rhys Hines for the Reds. Nico Horner for the Cubs. Chisholm Jr. for the Yankees. Orlando Hernandez for the Yankees. Larry Walker for the Cardinals. And Brandon Nimmo for the Mets. We got a Piedmont back for Olson. And a Sweet Corporal for Royce Lewis. And I'll scan all these later and put them in the Facebook page. All the hits. Chipper Jones for the Braves. Junior Caminero for the Rays. Jackson Merrill for the Padres. Shane McClanahan for the Rays. David Justice for the Braves. Salvador Perez for the Royals. Paul Skeens for the Pirates. Isaac Paredes for the Astros. Joe Torre for the Cardinals. Zach Gallen for the D-backs. And a Polar Bear and Sovereign parallels for, Polar Bear for Caminero and Sovereign for Chipper Jones. You got Dylan Cruz for the Nationals. Harry S. Truman. I don't know what the odds are on those, but they're going to go to somebody in the break. We'll round them off later. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for the Blue Jays. Henry Davis for the Pirates. Jackie Robinson for the Dodgers. Buster Posey for the Giants. And Nomar Garciaparra for the Red Sox. Trey Turner for the Phillies. Justin Verlander for the Giants. And Rafael Palmeiro for the Rangers. Looks like the first two are normally parallels. Piedmont. Dylan Cruz, Piedmont. So the first two are parallels, and then the rest are base. So I'll just go to the parallels. Ellie De La Cruz, Sovereign parallel for the Reds. And Jace Young for the Tigers. There's a T80 rookie series for the Tigers. Ben Joyce for the Angels. Austin Riley for the Braves. Pedro for the Mets. Rhett Lauder for the Reds. Trevor Hoffman for the Padres. Ty Cobb for the Tigers. Ryan Hesley for the Cardinals. And another Buster, for the Giants. Where is everybody? Like 4 people in the room? Ooh, Wood. Rangers. Nolan Ryan, Wood card. Not numbered. And we have Spencer Steer, Piedmont. I'm sorry, Spencer Strider for the Braves. Piedmont variation. Then we got Byron Buxton for the Twins. Brian Reynolds for the Pirates. Framber Valdez for the Astros. Hayden Birdsong for the Giants. Jaron Duran for the Red Sox. Rafael Devers for the Giants. Yandy Diaz for the Braves. And Mark Grace for the Cubs. Anybody know what they can tell me what this is compared to? Got a gold foil or gold border. Gold leaf? Okay, thank you. Come on, get off. Robin Ventura, Piedmont for the White Sox. Piedmont. And we got a Reese Hines rookie T80 rookie series for the Reds. Jordan Alvarez for the Astros. Tyler Fitzgerald for the Giants. Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins. Ooh, Dontre Willis autograph for the Marlins. Pete Alonso for the Mets. Brandon Nimmo for the Mets. Larry Walker for the Cardinals. Alan Trammell for the Tigers. And Corey Seager for the Rangers. Yeah, let's see what back that is. That's regular. And let me do something here. I like these. Right. American Beauty, Seth Lugo for the Royals. New pattern. And we have Fernando Tatis Jr., Piedmont for the Padres. Cade Povich for the Orioles. Carlos Correa for the Twins. Adele Amador for the Rockies. Jose Barrios for the Blue Jays. Josh Naylor for the Diamondbacks. Aaron Shunk for the Rockies. Robin Yount for the Brewers, and Lewis Heel for the Yankees. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know how to unblock links. All right. Albert Pujols, American Beauty for the Cardinals. We got Tyler Fitzgerald, Sweet Caporal for the Giants. Caporal. Leo Jimenez, Blue Jays. Austin Riley for the Braves. Channel Park for the Dodgers. Matt Olson for the Braves. Ichiro for the Mariners. Randy Johnson for the D-backs. Mark Ventos for the Mets. And Dustin Pedroia for the Red Sox. On that one. What the hell was that? Cal Ripken Jr., Piedmont for the Orioles. Matt Strom, Piedmont parallel for the Phillies. Adley Rushman for the Orioles. George Foster for the Reds. Dansby Swanson for the Cubs. Shoto Manga for the Cubs. Kobe Mayo for the Orioles. Ozzie Albies for the Braves. Griffin Conine for the Marlins. And Ceddanne Rafaela for the Red Sox. Wood, 1-11. Is that packs or boxes? Brian Roberts, Sweet Caporal for the Orioles. We have another Wood. Michael McGreevy for the Cardinals. We got Trey Turner for the Phillies. Devin Williams for the Yankees. Colt Keith for the Tigers. Michael McGreevy for the Cardinals. Pujols for the Cardinals. Emmanuel Clase for the Guardians. Brett Saberhagen for the Royals. Jordan Alvarez for the Astros. I'd be sorry. You're helping me out, telling me what they're from. And we got Babe Ruth for the Yankees. Polar Bear. Leaf. Dontrell Willis for the Marlins. What do you call it? Gold Leaf for the Marlins. Lewis Heel for the Yankees. Gavin Lux for the Reds. Mike Trout for the Angels. Anders Jimenez for the Blue Jays. Roger Clemens for the Blue Jays. Josh Young for the Rangers. Spencer Strider for the Braves. And Ozzie Smith for the Padres. And we got Pete Alonso, Sovereign parallel for the Mets. Where's the Sovereign? And we got Paul Goldschmidt, Piedmont for the Yankees. Chase Young for the Tigers. Kota Senga for the Mets. Jordan Alvarez for the Astros. I don't know if they're just different cards or different parallels. Matt Olson for the Braves. Rafael Devers for the Giants. Colton Cowser for the Orioles. Jonathan India for the Royals. And Jack Konchaniewicz for the Angels. think they say his name. Not sure. Aaron Shunk, Sweet Caporal for the Rockies. Cal Riley, Piedmont for the Mariners. We got Will Wagner for the Blue Jays. Adrian Del Castillo for the Diamondbacks. Jung Hoo Lee. Why isn't it Hung or Young Hoo Lee for the Giants? Royce Lewis for the Twins. Chili Davis for the Angels. Brian Roberts for the Orioles. Logan Gilbert for the Mariners. And Pedro Martinez for the Mets. Last 2 packs of box 1. Carlos Beltran, Cycle for the Royals. That's a new one. What's the cycle? 1 in 10. 1 per box. Luis Angel Acuna, T80 rookie series for the Rangers. Right? Rangers? No, I'm sorry, Mets. Justin Henry Malloy for the Tigers. Framber Valdez for the Astros. Blake Snell for the Dodgers. Gary Sheffield for the Yankees. Taj Bradley for the Rays. Jonathan India for the Royals. Corey Seager for the Rangers. And Drew Thorpe for the White Sox. Yeah, it's just the 2 parallels are on the top. Last pack of box 1. Buster Posey, Sweet Caporal for the Giants. Adrian Del Castillo, Piedmont for the Diamondbacks. Anthony Volpe for the Yankees. Gunnar Henderson for the Orioles. Tyler Locklear for the Mariners. Adele Amador for the Rockies. Mookie Betts for the Dodgers. Nick Gonzalez for the Pirates. Brenton Doyle for the Rockies. And Aaron Judge for the Yankees. Okay, that was box 1. Box 2. Three. 4. Got Blake Snell, Piedmont for the Dodgers. Acuna Jr., Sovereign for the Braves. Tom Glavine for the Mets. Jazz Chisholm for the Yankees. Joe Torre for the Cardinals. Ryan Reynolds for the Pirates. Kobe May for the Orioles. Yadier Molina for the Cardinals. Christian Walker for the Astros. And Griffin Connor for the Marlins. Roki Sasaki, rookie. Sweet Caparel for the Dodgers. What's sweet is what? 1 and 3. Jordan Alvarez, Piedmont for the Astros. Adele Amador for the Rockies. Francisco Alvarez for the Mets. Mason Miller for the A's. Caden Dana for the Angels. Luis Castillo for the Mariners. George Brett for the Royals. Saya Suzuki for the Cubs. And Mookie Betts for the Dodgers. What do you guys think of these so far? Like them? Love them? Hate them? Jaron Duran, Cycle, parallel for the Red Sox. What is the good ones? Cycles 1 in 10, American Beauty 1 in 15, Broadleaf 1 in 25. For the Nationals, Vladimir Guerrero Sr. You got the leaf, gold leaf, I think, for the Expos National spot. Ty Cobb for the Tigers. Taj Bradley for the Braves. Anthony Santander for the Blue Jays. Roki Sasaki, rookie for the Dodgers. Luis Gonzalez for the D-backs. Michael McGreevy for the Cardinals. Riley Green for the Tigers. And Teoscar Hernandez for the Dodgers. Who we got? Tyler Fitzgerald, Piedmont for the Giants. Spencer Schwellenbach, T80 Rookie Series for the Braves. Ozzie Albies for the Braves. Schwellenbach for the Braves. Chili Davis for the Angels. Ooh. Joey Cantillo for the Guardians. Evan Carter for the Rangers. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for the Blue Jays. Adrian Gonzalez for the Padres. And Juan Soto for the Mets. Box 4 pack 2. Adel Amador, Piedmont parallel. We got a Chan-Ho Park, Sweet Caparel parallel for the Dodgers. Eric Gagne for the Dodgers. Stephen Kwan for the Guardians. Walker Buehler for the Red Sox. Corey Seager for the Rangers. Will Smith for the Dodgers. Andrew Jones for the Braves. CC Sabathia for the Yankees. And Trey Turner for the Phillies. Gotta check something for a minute. All right. Dansby Swanson, Sweet Caparel for the Cubs. And we got Devin Williams, Cycle for the Yankees. Dustin Pedroia for the Red Sox. Nathan Lowe for the Nationals. We got an autograph here, but Griffin Conine for the Marlins. George Foster for the Reds. Autograph for the Reds. Robin Ventura for the White Sox. Frank Thomas for the Blue Jays. Jazz Chisholm Jr. for the Yankees. Ronel Blanco for the Astros, and Luis Castillo for the Mariners. And we got a Piedmont of Adrian Beltre for the Mariners. Will Wagner, T80 Rookie Series for the Rangers. Right, I'm sorry, Blue Jays. Thinking T for Texas. So Blue Jays. Christy Matheson for the Giants. Shea Whitcomb for the Astros. Chili Davis for the Angels. Ronel Blanco for the Astros. Tyler Fitzgerald for the Giants. Mike Schmidt for the Phillies. Shinobu Yamamoto for the Dodgers. And Chan-Ho Park for the Dodgers. How hard are the presidents to get? 1 in 39? So what is that? Is that one per case? Then we got a Randy Johnson cycle for the Diamondbacks. Jung-Hoo Lee, the gold leaf, I think, for the Giants. Matt Chapman for the Giants. Sasaki for the Dodgers. Bryce Turang for the Brewers. Hank Aaron for the Brewers. That's a Brewer card. Roberto Clemente for the Pirates. Blake Snell for the Dodgers. Paul Goldschmidt for the Yankees. And Jonathan India for the Royals. Titanic. We need one of those, right? Jorge Posada, Piedmont for the Yankees. Garrett Crochet, Polar Bear for the Red Sox. Shea Whitcomb for the Astros. Ron Darling for the Mets. Alcantara for the Marlins. DJ Hertz for the Nationals. Luis Angel Acuna for the Mets. Bob Gibson for the Cardinals. Adrian Del Castillo for the Diamondbacks. And Jared Jones for the Pirates. Tim Raines, Sweet Caparel for the Expos Nationals. Junior Caminero, Sovereign for the Rays. Dick Allen for the White Sox. Manny Machado for the Padres. Mark Burley for the White Sox. Miguel Tejada for the Orioles. Ichiro for the Mariners. Cole Reagans for the Royals. Jorge Posada for the Yankees. And Bartolo Colon for the Rangers. Are there parallels for the autographs or just one? We got Cody Bellinger, Piedmont for the Yankees. Sal Frelick, American Beauty for the Brewers. American Beauty. What's that? 1 in 15. David Justice for the Braves. Junkins Noel for the Guardians. Nico Cavadas for the Angels. Robin Ventura for the White Sox. Julio Rodriguez for the Mariners. Dylan Cruz for the Nationals. Mike Schmidt for the Phillies. And Gavin Lux for the Reds. And we got Kumar Rocker, T80 Rookie Series for the Rangers. Jackie Robinson, Sweet Caparol for the Dodgers. Ken Griffey Jr. for the Reds. And he doesn't have a lot of Reds cards, so I guess it's good to Reds autograph if we can get one. Kodai Senga for the Mets. Nestor Cortez for the Brewers. Yamamoto for the Dodgers. Royce Lewis for the Twins. Sal Frelick for the Brewers. Matt Williams for the Giants. And Craig Biggio for the Astros. Okay. Last box of this carton. Ooh, blank back? What do they go for? Blank back of Luis Angel Acuna for the Mets. 1/23. And we got a wood of Caden Dana for the Angels. I don't know what's on the top, if it's supposed to be that way, but it looks like it's wet. But it's not. I mean, I don't know if just stained or that's the way the wood is. But going to the Angels. Hank Aaron for the Brewers. Vladimir Guerrero Sr. for the Expos National spot. Rafael Devers for the Giants. Nolan Ryan for the Rangers. Mike Piazza for the Dodgers. George Foster for the Reds. Randy Johnson for the D-backs. And Hunter Green for the Reds. So is there any, what would be the case hit in this? That you're guaranteed to get in the case. How many is there? 4 boxes. Is it 5 packs or 4 packs? Can't remember. So we got Nick York, Drum parallel for the Pirates. Drum is 1/50. Bartolo Colon, Broadleaf. That's another new one. Broadleaf is 1/25 for the Rangers. Will Wagner for the Blue Jays. Walker Buehler for the Red Sox. Willie Adames for the Giants. Jacob Wilson for the A's. Adrian Beltre for the Mariners. Tyler Glasnow for the Dodgers. Wyatt Langford for the Rangers. And Mark Vientos for the Mets. We got Vinny Pasquantino, Piedmont for the Royals. Tyler Locklear, Piedmont for the Mariners. Aaron Schunk for the Rockies. Logan Gilbert for the Mariners. CC Sabathia for the Yankees. Jimenez for the Blue Jays. Austin Riley for the Braves. Fred McGriff for the Blue Jays. Tyler Locklear for the Mariners. And Dansby Swanson for the Cubs. All right, last pack of the next carton. Carton number 2. We got a David Justice Sweet Caparol for the Braves. Emmanuel Clase Sauvern for the Guardians. Tim Hudson for the A's. Taylor Ward for the Angels. Bailey Ober for the Twins. Vinny Pasquantino for the Royals. Babe Ruth for the Yankees. Dwight Evans for the Red Sox. Michael King for the Padres. And Garrett Crochet for the Red Sox. On to box number 3, or carton number 3. I'll say, how many packs are there? 4, 16 packs. Yeah, go 16 times 5. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 16. Yeah, it'd be 16 times 5. So that's 80 packs. So 80 packs is a case hit. Anything harder than that is more than a case hit. Am I right or am I not right? Right? 16 packs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 16. Yeah, 16 times 5 is 80 packs. That's how many packs we're opening up. Am I right? Am I wrong? I can't remember. Because the way I added up, there was supposed to be 800 cards. Is that right? There are 10 cards per pack? I have to count them now because I don't remember. I only opened up 2 boxes. I can't remember how many cards there is. Wish you would say it on top of the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're good. So, Brenton Doyle, blank back for the Rockies. We got Jarren Duran, Polar Bear for the Red Sox. Polar Bear. And Jonkensky Noel for the Guardians. Dwight Evans for the Red Sox. Mark Grace for the Cubs. Jonathan India for the Royals. Birdsong for the Giants. David Ortiz for the Red Sox. Hunter Green for the Reds. Orlando Hernandez for the Yankees. We got Carlos Beltran, Sweet Caporal for the Royals. Bobby Witt Jr., Piedmont for the Royals. Jackie Robinson for the Dodgers. Gary Sheffield for the Yankees. Chisholm for the Yankees. Stephen Kwan for the Guardians. Ivan Rodriguez for the Tigers. Christian Yelich for the Brewers. George Brett for the Royals. And Matt Chapman for the Giants. Jack Konchinowitz, Cycle, parallel for the Angels. Cycle. Dustin Pedroia, Piedmont for the Red Sox. Shane McClanahan for the Rays. Zach Wheeler for the Phillies. Manny Machado for the Padres. Trey Sweeney for the Tigers. Anthony Volpe for the Yankees. Tim Raines for the Expos. Johnny Bench for the Reds, and Jackson Morrell for the Padres. That's what I don't like some breakers do is like, oh, we didn't hit the case hit. And they're talking about like something that they hit it's 1 in 10 cases, and they call that the case hit. So people think, oh, they didn't hit the case hit, so I'll get in the next break. Ben Rice, T80 Rookie Series for the Yankees. Walker Buehler, Sweet Caporal for the Red Sox. Christian Walker for the Astros. Larry Walker for the Cardinals. Tony Gwynn for the Padres. Ben Rice for the Yankees. Kota Senga for the Mets. Matt Williams for the Giants. Pete Alonso for the Mets. And Brooks Lee for the Twins. Oral Hershiser, Piedmont for the Dodgers. Frank Thomas, Sweet Caporal for the Blue Jays. Colt Keith for the Tigers. Jace Young for the Tigers. Juan Soto for the Mets. Jose Altuve for the Astros. Junior Caminero for the Rays. Josh Young for the Rangers. Joe Torre for the Cardinals. And Dwight Evans for the Red Sox. And I'm right back. Hold on one second. All right, I'm back. O'Neill Cruz, Piedmont for the Pirates. Now the gold leaf, I think. Kota Senga. The bottom is has a little ding on it for the Mets. Nestor Cortez for the Brewers. Isaac Paredes for the Astros. Johnny Damon for the Red Sox. Henry Davis for the Pirates. Lawrence Butler for the A's. Roger Clemens for the Blue Jays. Ripken Jr. for the Orioles. Rafael Palmeira for the Rangers. Dylan Dingler, Polar Bear for the Tigers. Julio Rodriguez, Sovereign for the Mariners. Ty Cobb for the Tigers. Bartola Colon for the Rangers. Noel for the Guardians. And we have an autograph. Jim Edmonds for the Angels. Luis Gonzalez for the Diamondbacks. Jack Konchanowicz for the Angels. Christian Walker for the Astros. Trey Turner for the Phillies. Johnny Damon for the Red Sox. So who we got watching today? I got 5 people in the room. Who are they? I know it's John. Who else is here? You still here, Scott? Junior Caminero, Cycle for the Rays. We got Mike Trout, Sovereign for the Angels. Greg Maddux for the Braves. Manny Machado for the Padres. Mason Miller for the A's. Ryan Pepiot for the Rays. Sandy Koufax for the Dodgers. Dennis Eckersley for the A's. Billy Wagner for the Astros. And Randy Johnson for the Diamondbacks. Hey, what's up there, James? Didn't know you were there. So who you guys want me to pull? Need some encouragement. This way I might be pulled. Yamamoto, Sovereign parallel for the Dodgers. Gold Leaf, Derek Jeter for the Yankees. Ty Cobb for the Tigers. Joey Cantillo for the Guardians. Tarek Skubal for the Tigers. Ryan Otto, okay. Jim Edmonds for the Angels. Buster Posey for the Giants. Chase Young for the Tigers. Jose Smoltuve for the Astros. Drew Thorpe for the White Sox. We got an Ozzie Smith, Piedmont for the Padres. Babe Ruth, Piedmont for the Yankees. Michael King for the Padres. Luis Gonzalez for the D-backs. Mason Wynn for the Cardinals. Burley for the White Sox. Riley Green for the Tigers. Darvish for the Padres. Eckersley for the A's. And Jackson Jobe for the Tigers. Blake Snell, parallel of Sweet Caparel for the Dodgers. CC Sabathia, Polar Bear for the Yankees. Francisco Lindor for the Mets. Nico Horner for the Cubs. Eric Davis for the Reds. Jack Flattery for the Tigers. Hank Aaron for the Brewers. Mason Miller for the A's. Alan Trammell for the Tigers. And Ron Darling for the Mets. Hayden Birdsong, Piedmont parallel for the Giants. We got a Mike Schmidt parallel of Piedmont for the Phillies. I don't know, is Joe here? Joe May? Frank Thomas for the Blue Jays. Bryce Miller for the Mariners. Beltre for the Mariners. Hershiser for the Dodgers. Manny Ramirez for the Red Sox. Joe Torre for the Cardinals. Dylan Dingler for the Tigers. And Roberto Clemente for the Pirates. Last box of carton 3. We got Chris Sale, Cycle for the Braves. And we have a Wood, James Wood of Wood. James Wood card for the Nationals. A Wood card. All right, we're going to get one of those. 50-50 chance. Either we get one or we don't. Babe Ruth for the Yankees. Willie Mays for the Mets. Scott Rowland for the Cardinals. Garcia Parra for the Red Sox. Ryan Pepiot for the Rays. Roy Campanella for the Dodgers. Buxton for the Twins. And Brent Rooker for the A's. Unless we get lucky, we got our autograph already. All right. Andrew Jones, Sweet Caparel for the Braves. Joe Torre, Cardinals, Piedmont parallel for the Cardinals. Brian Roberts for the Orioles. Reese Hines for the Reds. Ezekiel Tovar for the Rockies. Vinny Pasquantino for the Royals. Jacob deGrom for the Rangers. Got Juan Soto for the Mets. Sean Manaea for the Mets. And Raleigh Fingers for the Brewers. Taylor Ward, parallel. Sweet Caparel for the Angels. Saya Suzuki, Piedmont parallel for the Cubs. Luis Aparicio for the Orioles. Max Scherzer for the Blue Jays. Nathan Lowe for the Nationals. Miguel Tejada for the Orioles. Spencer Schwellenbach for the Braves. Saya Suzuki for the Cubs. Felix Hernandez for the Mariners. And Aaron Schunk for the Rockies. So a Titanic is like 8 cases. 1 in 8 cases. And then there's 300 players that can get that. So that's how many cases they make. We got Roy Campanella, Sovereign parallel for the Dodgers. Will Wagner, T80, rookie series for the Blue Jays. Vladimir Guerrero Sr. for the Expos. Andrew Vaughn for the White Sox. Dontrelle Willis for the Marlins. Freddie Freeman for the Dodgers. Shane Bieber for the Guardians. James Wood for the Nationals. William Contreras for the Brewers. And Luis Angel Acuna for the Mets. That is box number, or carton number 3. Oh, what did I do there? Why did I leave these here? Did I go through these? Yeah, that was when I got the autograph. I was mentioning Donnie Damon, Trey Turner, Walker, Concha Winitz, Gonzalez, Ty Cobb, Colon, Noel. All right. Koufax auto or bust. These don't like to be on top of each other because of that. Because that's why. All right, come on. Big hits coming. Blake Snell, Piedmont parallel for the Dodgers. Kevin Alcantara, T80 rookie series for the Cubs. Royce Lewis for the Twins. Wyatt Langford for the Rangers. Jung-Hoo Lee for the Giants. Caden Dana for the Angels. Vinny Pasquantino for the Royals. Ron Guidry for the Yankees. That's a new one. Brett Saberhagen for the Royals. Jarrett Jones for the Pirates. No more Garcia Parra. Huh? I don't know. Maybe they messed this one up because that's not a parallel. Leaf. Paul Skeens for the Pirates. Leaf parallel. Let's see if this one. Joey Votto. There you go. Cycle for the Reds. So it was out of order. Ryan Pepiot for the Rays. Taj Bradley for the Rays. Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers. Nathan Lowe for the Nationals. Yeah, that's a nice card for the Skeens. Yeah. Henry Davis for the Pirates. George Brett for the Royals. Ceddanne Rafaela for the Red Sox. Who's the man? Skeens? He just looks like he doesn't know what's going on. All right. Jackie Robinson, Piedmont for the Dodgers. Lewis Heel, Sweet Caparel for the Yankees. Chano Park for the Dodgers. Jack Konchanowitz for the Angels. Mike Trout for the Angels. James Wood for the Nationals. Palmeiro for the Rangers. Corbin Carroll, I think that's the first one I've seen of him, for the Diamondbacks. Shea Whitcomb for the Astros, and Mike Schmidt for the Phillies. Palmeiro Cycle parallel for the Rangers. Tony Oliva Piedmont for the Twins. Sam, that's a new one too. Aldegari, Sam Aldegari for the Angels. Never heard of him. Dennis Eckersley for the A's. Pete Alonso for the Mets. We got a Cade Povich autograph for the Orioles. First rookie autograph. Bryce Turn. I mean, of this product. Bryce Turn of the Brewers. Justin Verlander, Giants. Greg Biggio of the Astros. Jim Emmons for the Angels. And Jordan Alvarez for the Astros. Okay. So is this almost like a Koufax auto? It's not, because it's different. David Justice, Polar Bear for the Braves. Polar Bear. We got a Mason Miller, Piedmont for the A's. O'Neill Cruz for the Pirates. Chano Park for the Dodgers. Alfonso Soriano for the Yankees. Pedroia for the Red Sox. Mookie Betts for the Dodgers. Mark Ventos for the Mets. Jackson Churio for the Brewers. And Tom Glavine for the Mets. No. Why would you think? It's because that's why. Jose Canseco, Piedmont for the Rays. That's Rays, right? Yep, Rays. Matt Chapman for the Giants. Sweet Caparol for the Giants. Hunter Green for the Reds. Ryan Mountcastle for the Orioles. Roberto Clemente for the Pirates. Lou Robb for the White Sox. Ellie Dela Cruz for the Reds. Walker Buehler for the Red Sox. Brett Lauder for the Reds. And Dontrell Willis for the Marlins. We got Mason Wynn, Sovereign, parallel for the Cardinals. We have a Roy Campanella Leaf. Gold Leaf for the Dodgers. Johan Santana for the Twins. Jaron Duran for the Red Sox. Colton Cowser for the Orioles. Leo Jimenez for the Blue Jays. Ty Cobb for the Tigers. Shane Bieber for the Guardians. Bobby Abreu for the Phillies. And James Wood for the Nationals. Piedmont, Ben Joyce for the Angels. We have a Vinny Pasquantino Wood parallel number, or for the Royals, not numbered, for the Royals. Dick Allen for the White Sox. Langford and Colon for the Rangers. Joe DiMaggio for the Yankees. Michael McGreevy for the Cardinals. Sandy Koufax for the Dodgers. Reese Hines for the Reds, and Francisco Alvarez for the Mets. And we got Chano Park, Sovereign for the Dodgers. We got a Wood, Ricky Henderson for the Yankees. Zach Gallen for the D-backs. Matt Wallner for the Twins. Vinny Pasquantino for the Royals. Salvador Perez for the Royals. Ron Darling for the Mets. Schwelling back for the Braves. Paul Goldschmidt for the Yankees. And Frank Thomas for the Blue Jays. So we need a big autograph for the last hit. It'll be in this box. Like I said, unless we get lucky and there's extras in this. Brandon Nimmo, Polar Bear for the Mets. Polar Bear. Ha-Sing Kim, Piedmont for the Rays. Ha-Song. Ryan Hensley for the Cardinals. Caden Dana for the Angels. Robin Yount for the Brewers. Nolan Arenado for the Cardinals, and Joe Torre for the Cardinals. Louis Castillo for the Mariners. Kyle Schwarber for the Phillies. Miguel Tejada for the Orioles. Yeah, these don't seem to be coming out like the same amount of each player. I just hit one of one guy. I mean, one of one player. But I've hit 4 or 5 of another player. Mike Trout, Sweet Caparel for the Angels. Gold Leaf, Brenton Doyle for the Rockies. Hai-Sung Kim for the Dodgers. Cal Riley for the Mariners. Logan Gilbert for the Mariners. Chisholm for the Yankees. Zach Wheeler for the Phillies. Miguel Cabrera for the Marlins. Ichiro for the Mariners. And Tony Gwynn for the Padres. Gary Carter. American Beauty for the Nationals Expos spot. American Beauty. Logan Gilbert, Broadleaf for the Mariners. And we got Bryce Terang for the Brewers. Tyler Glasnow for the Dodgers. Billy Wagner for the Astros. Devin Williams for the Yankees. Jackson Jobe for the Tigers. Brandon Nimmo for the Mets. Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins. And Freddie Freeman for the Dodgers. Okay, last box of this carton. Of carton number 4. One more carton after this. We got a Juan Soto parallel of Piedmont for the Mets. Corbin Carroll, Piedmont parallel for the Diamondbacks. Jorge Posada for the Yankees. Michael King for the Padres. Jung-Hoo Lee for the Giants. Shota Amanaga for the Cubs. Jose Reyes for the Mets. Pete Crow Armstrong for the Cubs. Is that the first one we have of him? Chris Sale for the Braves and Aaron Judge for the Yankees. Yes, he is the GOAT. We got Ryan Hensley, sweet, Caparol for the Cardinals. Nick York, T80 Rookie Series for the Pirates. Jose Smoltuve, life-size portrait of him for the Astros. William Contreras for the Brewers. Eric Davis for the Reds. Fred McGriff for the Blue Jays. Chipper Jones for the Braves. Jock Peterson for the Rangers. Julio Rodriguez for the Mariners. And Raleigh Fingers for the Brewers. Of course, it's a little bent. Pedro Martinez. Sovereign Parallel for the Mets. And we got a Griffin Conine rookie parallel cycle for the Marlins. Rafael Devers for the Giants. Carlos Correa for the Twins. Greg Maddux for the Braves. Ezekiel Tovar for the Rockies. Kobe Mayo for the Orioles. Junior Caminero for the Rays. Ben Joyce for the Angels. Ozzie Smith, for the Padres. Last pack of carton 4. And we got a Corey Seager parallel of Piedmont for the Rangers. David Justice parallel of Sweet Caporal for the Braves. Teoscar Hernandez for the Dodgers. David Justice for the Braves. Gary Carter for the Expos. Taylor Ward for the Angels. Austin Wells for the Yankees. That's the first one I've seen of him. Josh Young of the Rangers. Ivan Rodriguez for the Tigers. And Sean Manaea for the Mets. Okay, last carton. A big hit. Big money, no whammies. Like I said, these packs do not want to go on top of each other. Forgot to close out my register before 7. So do it now. All right, big money. No whammies. Oh, is it? Okay. I thought it would be a Titanic back. Kyle Tucker, Sweet Caparel for the Cubs. Anthony Broken Elbow Volpe for the Yankees. Over in parallel. Ow. Zach Neto for the Angels. Ben Joyce for the Angels. Aaron Nola for the Phillies. Justin Verlander for the Giants. George Foster for the Reds. Vinny Pasquantino for the Royals. George Brett for the Royals. Ellie De La Cruz for the Reds. We got another president, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Is there any Christy Mathesons or just the one of one only? We're missing a parallel. So okay, I'll do it again. Christian Yelich for the Brewers. Miguel Cabrera for the Marlins. Tommy Edman for the Dodgers. Devin Williams for the Yankees. Roy Campanella for the Dodgers. Ichiro for the Mariners. Bueller for the Red Sox. Jackson Holliday for the Orioles. Royce Lewis for the Twins. Yeah, no parallel. I guess this takes the place of two parallels. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there'll probably be more than one or two parallels in another pack. Watch that happen. Tyler Locklear, Polar Bear for the Mariners. And we got a Dylan Cruz, Cycle for the Nationals. Cycle. Jose Reyes for the Mets. Hernandez for the Dodgers. Jordan Alvarez. Ooh, we'll do that one last. Sam Aldigari for the Angels. Roger Clemens for the Blue Jays. Corey Seager for the Rangers. Cole Reagans for the Royals. And we got Ian Happ for the Cubs. Jordan Alvarez for the Astros. And we got a Nationals. Jason Worth autograph for the Nationals. I was hoping for Dylan Cruz or a Wood autograph. We got Louis Angel, Piedmont parallel for the Mets. Louis Angel Acuna, that is. Hayden Birdsong, T80 Rookie Series. What team? For the Giants. Yadier Molina for the Cardinals. Bartolo Colon for the Rangers. Ty Cobb for the Tigers. Devers for the Giants. Chili Davis for the Angels. Burley for the White Sox. Gavin Lux for the Reds. Chipper Jones for the Braves. So let's check something. We got Francisco Lindor parallel cycle for the Mets. Zach Gallen, Sweet Caparel for the D-backs. Ezekiel Tovar for the Rockies. Royce Lewis for the Twins. Ron Guidry for the Yankees. Framber Valdez for the Astros. Dustin Pedroia for the Red Sox. Yadier Molina and Nolan Arenado for the Cardinals. And Nomar Garciaparra for the Red Sox. Spencer Schwallenbeck, Polar Bear for the parallels for the Braves. Polar Bear. We got Tommy Edman parallel of Sweet Cap for the Dodgers. Cade Povich for the Orioles. Colton Cowser for the Orioles. Gary Sheffield for the Yankees. Vladimir Guerrero Sr. for the Expos. Alan Trammell for the Tigers. Tony Gwynn for the Padres. Darling for the Mets. And Blake Snell for the Dodgers. Ryan Pepiot, Piedmont for the Rays. Mark Ventos, Sovereign parallel for the Mets. Rafael Devers for the Giants. Posey for the Giants. Griffin Conine for the Marlins. Ozzie Albies for the Braves. John Smoltz for the Cardinals. Julio Rodriguez for the Mariners. Ryan Mountcastle for the Orioles. Luis Gonzalez for the D-backs. Otani. Nothing? I don't know if there are. Is there? I wonder if there's parallels, like, or variations, because that's. Let's see, Saya Suzuki Piedmont parallel. See if it's Chisholm. No parallel there. Chisholm for the Yankees. Christy Mathewson. Not a 101. For the Giants, Colt Keith for the Tigers. Austin Riley for the Braves. Ripken for the Orioles. Bryce Miller for the Mariners. Miguel Tejada for the Orioles. And Roberto Clemente for the Pirates. All-Star Game Cap? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. All-Star Game Cap. Maybe that was another one. What's the odds on that one? All-Star Game Cap. 1 in 46. Yes, that's a huge hit for Otani. So I'll go look through the other ones again and let's see. Just grab this big stack and go through them and see. Look for another All-Star hat. Where? How far? Do you know who it was? That's Chisholm with a hat. Okay. Let's get through these here. All right, I'll get through these and then just look through them after this. We got David Wright, Piedmont for the Mets. John Kensky Noel, Rookie Series, T80 Rookie Series for the Guardians. Seth Lugo, Royals. Kumar Rocker for the Rangers. Hank Aaron for the Brewers. Jacob Wilson for the A's. Tim Hudson for the A's. Dingler for the Tigers. Tim Raines for the Expos. And Adele Amador for the Rockies. We got Ian Happ, Sweet Cap. Judge could be a good one. Piedmont, Judge Piedmont for the Yankees. Manny Ramirez for the Marlins. Jack Flattery for the Tigers. Anthony Santander for the Blue Jays. Jason Dominguez, that's the first one of him for the Yankees. Mathewson for the Giants. Ellis Burks for the Rockies. I haven't seen that one either. Royce Lewis for the Twins. And William Contreras for the Brewers. Saya Suzuki, Sovereign for the Cubs. We got a Jackson Morrell, Wood for the Padres. Jose Reyes for the Mets. Henry Davis for the Pirates. Adele Amador for the Rockies. Ken Griffey Jr. for the Reds. Bryce Miller for the Mariners. Dustin Pedroia for the Red Sox. Isaac Paredes for the Astros. And Freddie Freeman for the Dodgers. Here we got Corbin Burns, Polar Bear for the Diamondbacks. Dustin Pedroia, Piedmont for the Red Sox. Hanley Ramirez for the Marlins. Scott Rowland for the Cardinals. Logan Gilbert for the Mariners. Matt Wallner for the Twins. Tim Raines for the Expos. Nico Horner for the Cubs. Tatis Jr. for the Padres. And Taylor Ward for the Angels. Last box. Nomar Garcia Parra, Sovereign Parallel for the Red Sox. And we got Manny Ramirez, Cycle for the Red Sox. Oral Hershiser for the Dodgers. Ozzie Smith for the Padres. Tyler Locklear for the Mariners. Nathan Lowe for the Nationals. Gonzalez for the D-backs. Ozzie Albies for the Braves. Teoscar Hernandez for the Dodgers. And Sal Frelick for the Brewers. All right, who's texting me? Nobody. Ooh. Blake Snell, parallel. Broadleaf for the Dodgers. We got a Gavin Lux, polar bear for the Reds. Joe DiMaggio for the Yankees. Tony Oliva for the Twins. Spencer Strider for the Braves. I forget his name. John Kenzie Knoll for the Guardians. Derek Jeter for the Yankees. Jackson Jobe for the Tigers. Trey Sweeney for the Tigers. Excuse me. Will Wagner for the Blue Jays. We got a Junior Caminero Piedmont for the Rays. Gold Leaf, Jackson Merrill for the Padres. Anders Jimenez for the Blue Jays. Jose Ramirez for the Guardians. Jaron Duran for the Red Sox. Wilson Contreras for the Cardinals. Junior Caminero for the Rays. Ricky Henderson for the Yankees. Chano Park for the Dodgers. And Larry Walker for the Cardinals. Johnny Bench. Piedmont for the Reds. Jack Konchanowitz. Sweet Cap for the Angels. Yamamoto for the Dodgers. Campanella for the Dodgers. Mason Wynn for the Cardinals. Bryce Miller for the Mariners. Miguel Tejada for the Orioles. Saya Suzuki for the Cubs. Josh Young for the Rangers. Shane Bieber for the Guardians. And I'm going to look. Let me look through this stack here. See if we find any All-Star or missing hats. So that's the Ohtani normal. Wonder what that's worth. So we're looking for a no hat or a All-Star hat. Awesome. Yes, that is. Ah, nice. Right. If you look at that again, is there any All-Star or missing hats in that pack? It'll be the second card. It should be the second card. First or second card. Okay. Yeah, I just looking through all of them. I don't see anything, so it probably is just an error. Error of packing. All right, I'm gonna try to do something on the phone because we're gonna just random these off to two. All right, I'm gonna get the list. If I get the list here, back to where I here you go. The copy. For the random, I gotta move this here. Random.org. Random drawings. Where you go here? Numbers. List randomizer. All right, let me go back. How do I do this here? I'm gonna do this here. You're gonna see this forever. But let me go to this other page. Guess I'll do it on my phone first and then do it down here. So I can't do it on both. It's gonna mess up. So go back to this. I'm sorry. I forgot what I'm doing. YouTube. Now this is yeah, that's it. Oh, cancel. Okay. All right, now I can turn it back. I'm going to try to get it a little bit closer. I'm sorry about all this mess. All right, can you see it all? We're going to random this off 5 times. Everybody from Arizona all the way down. So your names are here, your teams are here, everybody's in there. So the more teams you bought, the more chances you have to win these two. I'm just going to do 5 things and the top 2 team. Well, I have to do them both at a time. I'm just going to make it. This is number 1. This is number 2. Number 1, number 2. Okay, get down. Come on. Where are you? 1, 2. So Roosevelt is 1. Truman is 2. All right, let's go. Here we go. Randomize. We're doing it 5 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got at the top Red Sox. AJ Nelson wins 1. And then James Bovinghausen wins number 2. So take a picture of that so I can find it. Cancel. Cancel. Turn around. Okay, good. All right, get me back to here. So you see that okay? Now you're going to see a mess, but let's do that. So AJ Nelson gets card number 1, which is the Roosevelt, and James gets this one, the Truman. All right, and I saved that, so right it here. Don't want to mess anything up. So AJ Nelson gets Roosevelt. James gets the Truman. Number 2. All right. All right, so you guys happy? Wish we could have hit some of the huge yards, but what do you think this one's worth? What does that got to go for? Anybody look that up and see if any have gone early? I love those holders because then they can fit in perfect like that. right in the center of the holder. I'm not going to take a picture of all the backs of all the higher end ones, but I'll take a picture of the other ones and list them in Facebook. Hold on one second. Nice. Guess that pays for that spot. That's nice. So let's see. Like I said, we have one drum, Nick York. And these are what they're called, the tobacco card inserts. Holds them nice in center. I have them in my binders for the T205s that I collect. You mean like this? There's a nice PSA 10 Otani. PSA 10 rookie Otani. Let me put all these in sheets. All of the more rarer ones. Yeah, I wish like Whatnot or any of those type of break-in places would use a full-size video instead of a phone that's really hard to see through. That's why I like YouTube. You can use the whole picture, the whole screen, not just part of it. And I've been taking video or doing breaks like this since 2008 on the overhead. Normally it's straight down, but I changed up a little bit. I haven't been able to do breaks on eBay since 2023, since they made approved breakers. But they did send me an email, but it went to my spam folder. They want me to do advertising or promoting. They send me 5 million ways, and I always get it. Yeah. Here's the sleeves. And they work great too in the in binder pages. But American Beauty Gary Carter, American Beauty Sal Frelick, American Beauty, who's this? Seth Lugo, American Beauty Albert Pujols, Blank Back. I know it's not blank, totally blank, but Luis Acuna, Luis Angel Acuna, Brenton Doyle, Broadleaf, Blake Snell, Logan Gilbert, Broadleaf, Bartolo Colon, Broadleaf, Nick York, Drum, and then the presidents, Truman and Roosevelt. And there's their autographs: George Foster, Jim Edmonds, Dontrell Willis, Cade Povich, Jason Worth, but the big hit, Ohtani. And here's the Woods. I didn't put these in yet. Jackson Morrell, Ricky Henderson, Vinny Pasquantino, James Wood, Caden Dana, Nolan Ryan, and Michael McGreevy. These are the T80 rookie cards. Noel Birdsong, York, Alcantara, Wagner, Bryce, Rocker, Wagner, Schwallenbach, Acuna, Jung, and Hines. Here are the golden, what are they called? Golden something? Gold leaf, I think. Jackson Morrell, Brenton Doyle, Roy Campanella, Paul Skeens, Derek Jeter, Koda Singa, Jung Hoo Lee, Vladimir Guerrero Sr., Dontrell Willis, and Mark Grace. And the other ones are they have a lot of parallels. And I'll do this cycle. These are all cycles. Carlos Beltran, Jaron Duran, Devin Williams, Randy Johnson, Conchinowitz, Caminera, Chris Sale, Joey Votto, Palmero, Griffin Conine, Dylan Cruz, Lindor, and Manny Ramirez. And that's the break, guys. Thank you for participating. And I know we hit some good cards for some people. But I'm sorry if you didn't hit your cards, but you're going to get a lot of cards shipped to you. Everything ships. Yeah, those will be good for the minis also, for Allen and Ginter. I hope I get some. Like I said, Topps doesn't like to give me product. You're welcome. Thank you, guys. And I hope to do another online break or on-demand break soon. I know one guy complained when I'm doing the regular Topps stuff in Topps now. So any on-demand products I get, I can do breaks with. All right, guys, thanks again, and I will see you later. And like I said, these will be shipped out on Monday. Have a good night, and thanks again. Have a good night.